Welcome to that spiritual, actual, factual answers to questions you're asking. You find them inside you, recite you, reciting the records. Akashic, we laughing, we drafting the passion through vary. It's time for that comedy, dramedy, all of the fanciest, catchiest acronyms. Listeners, listen, we traveling. Consciousness is always unraveling. The reading you're having is mapping you back to your natural habitat. Abracadabra, it's magicless, passing it. To top it off, the host, all the classiest. Now, what were you asking for? All of the answers? What? All the answers.
Hello, hello, hello.
That's definitely it.
All right. Scooching closer to the penis mic, raising it on a thingy to bring it closer to my mouth, which is what she said. We have fun. We have a good time. There we go. Hi, there's the penis. Come here. You coming up? Coming up, small dog? No, she's not, because she's itching herself just like I am constantly because it's summer in Florida and mosquitoes are everything. It's like back of the arm, both ankles, my quads have, my right butt cheek has a mosquito fucking bite on it. This place is dumb. So we have tonight the dress rehearsal.
Now I'm recording. What is up, Katie?
We have dress rehearsal tonight for the storytelling show on Sunday. I'm producing a stand-up show Friday night here in my building. Saturday afternoon. I'm sorry, Chauncey arrives from the West Coast.
Yeah.
So nothing going on.
I think it's funny that we use his fake name, even though we've said his regular name for like 2 years ongoing.
Well, have we?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine, but we'll stick with Chauncey.
It's fun.
People have to go back and do some like background research if they want to figure out.
Right. And nobody cares. Nobody cares. Here, I have a thing I can talk about that I wish I could. Let me see if I can show you this. I have an uncanny, surprise, 3-card spread thing happening, which let me see if I can show this to you. Okay, so see how I have 3-card spreads there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's 3-card spreads, one for each location that I'm looking at.
Moving again too?
Yeah, in August.
Because that's how you do.
And every time that I pull these, the same fucking cards come up for each specific place. And they're all good. So the cards are like, sorry, home slice, you got to choose. Like, really?
We can't do all the work for you.
Well, it's sort of like, I feel like really what's going on is all this time, these other moves have been like I needed to follow directions to get to me. And now here I am. And I'm going, well, now what? And it's going, now you choose. And I'm going, I choose? And it's going, you choose. Choose. Like, it's like, here's what you get in Atlanta. Here's what you get in California. Here's what you get in Florida. You ready? Make a choice. And I'm all kinds of fucked up about it. I'm not really fucked up about it, but I'm not resolved on it. And it's, I'm just seeing it, I guess, as an exercise in following the emotional wave and just waiting until there's some kind of clarity. And I come in and out of the clarity. Like I have definitely have a sacral feeling. Like if I were just following my sacral awareness and didn't have emotional authority, it'd be California all day. But boy, does the mind have a lot to say about what I'm quote, quote, losing out on.
Right.
You know,
Right. You've actually built a brand on the East Coast.
And I have I have this cool thing with the agent. I had a meeting with my agent today where I said to her, because, you know, I've talked about how she wants to help produce this show I want to make that we could then sell to a streaming platform. She's still all about it. She loves it. She's such a cool lady, too. We have good talks about it, and she's a great sounding board. So anyway, I had a meeting with her today, and I was like, straight up question, would you still do this project with me if I were on the West Coast? She was like, yeah. And I was like, you would? She's like, fucking yeah. She's like, you'll, I think, have a harder time paying to shoot it. But if you can do that still, I'm happy to, you know, package it with you, connect you with people, help you sell it, do all the things we're going to do. And I'm like, huh. And then I think about, not sure that it would be that hard to shoot it in Sacramento. Like she was talking about LA. She's like, you know how it is to shoot things in LA? And I was like, girl, I'm not going to LA. Fuck LA. I'm going to the Bay Area and then driving up to Sac to see if Cap Stage will let me shoot these 3 shows there and like.
Or the fancy theater in Grass Valley or something.
Yeah. There's options, you know. That's a good point. I'd have to get a lot more bodies in that one though, which is hard. But cap stage, like I bet you, like I got some ideas. Anyway, yeah. So the 3-card spread for California is like, I feel like I should tell you all these. It feels very vulnerable to share all this. In each 3-card spread, Chauncey shows up. Each one, he's there.
All right.
I'm like, okay. Like in the one for Atlanta, he's in the recent past position. In the one for, wait, that's it. Oh, in the one for California, he's in all 3. And in the one for staying in Jacksonville, he's in the recent past. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. I feel bored with myself, but I'm just going to have to meditate on these and just let more time pass and keep feeling into it. That's the bottom line. But it's frustrating that there's no clear... When I go into the Akashic Records and ask, it's very clear. They're like, California, go now. And I'm like, what? So the other day I was in the records doing my little morning practice, and I was like, okay, if I'm going to California, I need you to help me process all of my resistance to that and all the parts of me that are like, I'm failing if I go back. I'm going backwards instead of forwards. I'm missing out on, and the millisecond I said, I need you to help me process it, instant sobbing.
Yep.
I was like, and it was all getting processed.
Right. What'd you ask for? Here you go.
Like instantly. That's what I love about the records and my spiritual connection is like, I have me as a person on my own. If you say to me, like, how do you feel about that? I'll be like, I'm fine. But the second I'm in the records, I'm like, how do I feel about that? Instant sobbing. Like my connection with spirit is how I get connected to me.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm working with a lot of resistance to going back. And I wanted to ask you something on this topic because I was talking to Kat about this idea that when I've been back the last 2 times in April and May, I was like, I asked her in the privacy of our friendship because I felt embarrassed about it at first. I was like, the last 2 times I've come back, I felt like there's more poverty and more homelessness and more violent energy in the streets and I was like, am I just misremembering what it was like before? She was like, oh no, it's a lot worse.
Oh no, it's a lot worse.
And she described it as the wealth disparity has grown wider. The income.
That's definitely true.
Such that the homelessness problem is worse. And also you have like armed guards at Walgreens and like all the stuff at Walgreens is behind like security shields. Cause like I was mentioning that to her too. I'm like, were there always armed guards in the fucking, there were not.
No. And stores are closing. Huge flagship stores are closing. The CVS near my house just finally shut down because they're just like, we can't, they were getting robbed or smashed or all the time. And yeah, it's just gotten a lot. I would call it the desperate energy has gotten just so intense. There is more property crime. There is more personal crime. There is way more homelessness than it was, say 5 years ago. Massive amounts more. And more recently, just nonstop cars getting jacked, stolen, broken into, catalytic converters like mine getting stolen, just an endless litany of that.
And are we attributing that to the income disparity?
Well, yeah, in that people have been pushed out onto the street, and at a certain point, I think
yeah, right, you're pissed.
I don't even know if it's necessarily the folks who are living on the street who are doing the crime.
Sure.
But they kind of go, that energy of desperateness goes hand in hand, the sort of Mad Max level of living. And that definitely looks like, it does look more dystopian than it ever did. And that usually looks like disparity. It looks like people living in towers and people living in mud huts with guns and stuff, like in the movies. That's what that looks like. And we have our version of that.
It sure makes me not really that motivated to go there.
I hate to say it, but I love so much about my life here. And like, if something was like, you should move here, I would seriously consider it. Like if something took me elsewhere,
yeah,
I would consider it because it's what's nuts is that it feels less good living here than it ever did.
Yeah.
And it's impossibly expensive to live in a place that doesn't feel good to live in. So like, I'm fine because of my situation, but like if I were coming into this,
Yeah.
From zero? I can't imagine how you would do it. You wouldn't live in Oakland, Berkeley, San Francisco. That's for damn sure. You'd have to get like you lived in Benicia before, or you'd have to get an apartment in Pinole or something,
Mm-hmm.
and live in a town and then visit the city.
Mm.
Because it's
fucked.
It's fucked. It doesn't feel good. And it makes me really sad to say that. It doesn't feel comfortable. It doesn't feel like...
It feels kind of tense, doesn't it?
It feels very tense. And on the day-to-day, I'm fine. Like, I don't feel scared in my house, but I'm just like, well, I guess if I park my car on the street, which I have to do, I'm just going to assume once every few months it's going to get a window smashed or something,
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah, it's not great.
Just assuming that.
Yeah, it sucks.
We used to joke about that being like city tax, but the city tax has gone up.
Yeah, for sure.
It's much more common.
And I'm like, why would you send me back to that Akashic Records? And they're like community, love, friends, creativity, all the good shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but if I'm getting all this other positive shit, these other places, like, it's...
It is. Is a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
It feels a little wackadoo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny, like when you talk about coming back here, I would make fun of you for leaving all the time. Not fun of you, but I would always, oh, Katie's good. But now I'm like, no, stay in Jacksonville is my first gut.
Wow.
Or Atlanta, I guess, sounds cool too.
Yeah.
My first gut is not to be totally behind you coming back here, which sucks because I want you to come back here.
Yeah.
We could hang out and record and do comedy and, work on shit. But it's weird here right this moment.
Yeah. It's also interesting to have been a part of the exodus away from a place. There was like a mass exodus out, and then coming back feels just sort of odd.
Yeah. It's a strange sitch.
Something that would solve this problem is if I could get on airplanes.
Yeah.
All right. On that front, let's talk about this. And then I have a really strong sense we should get in the records about something today. I don't know what.
Right.
But I have to go at 5:40 my time.
Yeah, it's a short one, people. Buckle up. It's going to be a quick, fast, and dirty, deep, totally well-lubed ride.
Sexy. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. This has been a real week for me. It's been a tough week. Productive, but tough. In the sense that we had a couple storms at the beginning of the week that caused me to hide in my closet from fear of lightning. But on the second one that hit a second day in a row, I was like, okay, we're doing EMDR about this again, because this is the same feeling I have on the plane. Like this, let's work on this. First day, I was like, I don't want to work on this. I just want to hide. Second day, I was like, let's work on it. So I get in the closet and I do a bunch of EMDR. And for the listener, if you don't know what EMDR is, it's eye movement desensitization rapid. Something like that. So you can do it you can do it visually or auditorially or with sensation. So I have these two paddles, and the paddle in my left hand, you hold the paddles in your hands and they vibrate alternately, left, right, left, right. And what it's doing is reconnecting the two hemispheres of the brain. So I sat in there feeling terrified and just sinking into the terror and doing EMDR around it, which is very powerful. I was out for like 36 hours after that, like out. Like my body was so sensitive and new and like an infant baby. I slept on I have this like extra mattress thing that's actually the inside of a huge beanbag chair in the office. And I pulled the mattressy thing out and slept in my office on the floor on this mattress. It's like a puffy, wonderful, comfy thing. It was like 36 hours. I couldn't. It was so the work was really intense and my body was just integrating in a very deep way for a long time. And I'd have to muster all the strength I had to just walk the dogs. This is an experience I'm used to having because I've been through a lot of stuff that's kind of intense to heal. It's been a while though, since I've had that experience where I have to just lay down forever until I'm functional again and cancel a few clients and all kinds of shit. Or reschedule people, I should say. I was perfectly fine after 36 hours. I'm feeling great now, but I know there's more coming. There's more weather coming, and B, there's more processing coming. But I will tell you this. I drove home last night from the theater which is 30 minutes closer to the ocean from where I live. And there was lightning all in the sky. It wasn't raining and it was nighttime, very dark. So I couldn't see the color of the sky. Usually like the color of the sky can kind of trigger me too. But there was a lot of lightning and I felt nervous and I wanted to not be where the lightning was, but it was down from a 10 to like a 4.
That's pretty big.
So I feel hopeful. Like I don't.
Like that you could fly on that. You could fly on a 4. You can't fly at a 10, but you can fly at a 4.
No. Yeah. So I think there's more, but there's more EMDR to do. But anyway, it was productive and it's good to talk about it here so people know.
Eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing.
When are you coming to visit?
Fuck if I know. I'm gonna make some plans. I gotta do it. Got some little audition-y things hanging out, but nothing really, I should do something in July or even August.
Come on out.
I could go in August. We should go in August. I'm gonna start making a plan. Yeah, I should absolutely do that. And I'd like to. You and I are doing something similar right now. We both talked to this food.
Oh, yeah. Intuitive.
And I have questions about that maybe
let's talk about
chat about real quick. But yeah.
Yeah, please. I'm tired of me. Let's go. Let's do it.
Well, you see me yawning a lot.
Oh, right.
Caffeine was one of my.
Fuck.
You should just avoid it. It's not great for you. All caffeinated drink.
How are you doing?
Pretty good. I stopped right away. I said, okay, fine. And then the next day I just didn't have caffeine. And like, I got a little headache on the second day and I took some ibuprofen. And then yesterday by the evening, it was like day 3 or 4. We'd been playing games all day and that was fun. But also we'd been in an intensely air conditioned office, closed air conditioning, which I don't like air conditioning. I think it fucks with my throat. Like I thought I was getting sick. I was like, I have COVID because that's what I do every single time. Even though this specific sinus and throat feeling I've had on and off, it comes and goes over the last 3 months nonstop. So it's not COVID. Whatever it is ain't COVID because I've tested plenty in the meantime.
Is it allergies?
I guess, but it didn't even feel like I wasn't having allergies. I was just sort of I felt bad. You know what I mean? When your body just kind of goes.
But allergies can make you feel that way.
I don't feel happy. Like it made me sad.
I know allergies can do that, believe it or not. They don't always feel like sneezing and coughing or eye itching.
But it also felt like, it would be related to allergies, frankly. I think air conditioned air gets to me after a little while. Maybe
you're allergic to something in the Freon or the whatever's in there.
Yeah. It just made me feel crappy. And I was like, oh, great. I'm feeling. But then it also could have been more caffeine withdrawal because, I was doing that. And then I woke up this morning feeling fine. But I'm yawning a lot today, even though I got enough sleep. So I'm still haven't shaken the caffeine. But So the big ones for me were caffeine. And then the weird one for me is chickpeas.
So weird.
I'm supposed to stay away from them entirely. And I eat so much hummus.
But I think, like I told you, I think that's because you've been eating so much hummus.
Right. I've loaded my body up with chickpeas.
But that's a real thing. People have to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overloading. So you're telling me I shouldn't eat nonstop olives now because it had the double thumbs up on my list.
I wouldn't.
Because then I'll just ruin olives for myself.
Exactly. Bye olives.
Yeah. But
give it six months.
Yeah. And already I actually don't like necessarily how I feel after about 4 days of just totally going for it and cutting those things out and adding those things in. But I do feel like it's because my body's going, wait, what are you doing? Doing things differently. I'm not pooping as well as I usually do because I'm not having coffee.
You got to give it like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I say that as if it's easy and I have not even tried.
Have you started on your?
Yeah, I've taken certain parts of it more seriously than others.
Me too.
And I have a lot of like things on there that I'm like,
yeah,
no.
I'm also supposed to get off gluten, and I'm like, fucking A.
Same.
Fuck you.
I know.
And alcohol. I'm also supposed to get off. Alcohol, gluten, potatoes.
Oh.
Well, potatoes are on my fattening list, like major fattening list, and also all coconut products.
Me too.
Yeah. So we'll see.
I actually don't like the coconut products, so like I'm happy to not do those.
Yeah, that one's fine. That one doesn't bother me.
And I know I can get myself to going back to like cornbreads and corn tortillas. Like I'm doing that. I'm pulling in that direction. I threw my like English muffins away and I bought more puffed millet to have with my lactose-free yogurt. And I'm putting dried fruit in my yogurt instead of having a sugary snack. And, like the things I know to do, I'm doing them. So I'd say I'm like 75% clean on the plan and like whatever the 30, whatever that 20 math, the rest not.
Well, here's the part that maybe has some more of a philosophical, spiritual aspect to it. I already have found myself in situations of feeling self-conscious about all the limitations that suddenly and they're not even that many. It's mostly what I already eat. Like, oh, I can't do that because I'm trying to avoid gluten. Sorry, now I'm that guy.
I know, but all of that is judgment,
Yeah. And nobody's having that judgment on me. That's me. I'm placing that judgment.
No, I know. Same.
Then people go like, oh, why? What are you doing? Where did you get this information? Then I'm self-conscious about that, depending on who I'm talking to.
Totally.
Some people I just be like, oh, I talked to a food intuitive and they're like that. And they're like, ooh, tell me more. And some people I assume are going to be like, so I have to be like, don't laugh or whatever. Like, oh, did they like interview you and take blood? Nope. She just took my name and then sent me a list. I mean, that's basically what it was. Took your name and sent a list.
For people listening, thefoodintuitive.com is what we're talking about. And she's in the UK and you pay her almost $100 and she just taps into your energy field and then creates a list and sends it very quickly back to you to be like, very quickly.
Very quickly. Within an hour of you sending her the money. And I called Katie up for the listener, tell you our little story. I immediately, when I got the email back saying, great, just send me the money and we'll do it. And I was like, wait, we don't. So I messaged Katie and was asking like, but is this thing? Because I want to at least like feel like there's touch or not actual touch, but like some sort of contact or some sort of, I want you, like it'd be like you doing, which you do, I'm sure with your clients. Sometimes you do complete no contact ones. Sometimes maybe.
Well, I can,
but like, I want to at least get on the phone with you and have you say like, okay, I'm going to go into your rec. Like I just needed something to assure me that there was actual interaction with the me. So, and I got nervous but I listened to my two very dear friends, Rami and Katie, both of whom recommended this person. And so I went with it. Well, Rami recommended it and you also did it. So I was like,
well, so then I said words to you about that and you said, oh, that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
So maybe for the listener, what was it that I said that was useful? If you remember.
I feel like you just said, oh, I love no contact.
I did say that.
Which made me feel like you were saying like, yeah, no contact is a thing. It's totally a thing. And you just said, don't worry about it. It's totally a thing. And you also and because I trust your association with the divine, with the other ways that, checking with you to say like,
is that a thing?
Do you feel like she's doing, or is she doing the thing? And your gut tells you that she's doing the thing.
Yeah. And I mean, my thing is, I already know all the things she told me.
Me too.
I needed someone else to be, except for like, I don't know, there was some specific shit. I'm trying to remember what. Like, I knew the thing about coconut, but I was surprised she could tell the thing about coconut because it's been so long since I've had any, except for as lube, because it's such good lube.
Okay.
Coconut oil?
Because it's heat activated.
Is it?
Well, it's a solid until it gets warmed up. So it.
Right. But it's just good lube and it's organic and it's just good lube.
I wonder if we're going to get a note saying, don't ever use it as lube. Oh my God, are you kidding me?
That's true.
It's a breeding ground for yeast.
Or like babies in Somalia die every time you use.
No, we don't want that. Just because you needed. No, that's palm oil. We should avoid palm oil at all.
Because babies in Somalia die?
I mean, that's putting it a little too cavalierly, but it's supposed to be one of the worst, like slash of rain forest and putting literally like indigenous folks losing their homes because of the harvesting of palm oil. And
that's no good.
It's not good.
I think you should say hi to Squeezle. There she is.
Hi, Squeezel. There she
Look at
is.
that face. Don't you want to visit this dog?
Kind of do.
Look at this dog. You could visit this dog.
All right. Road trip.
You're going to do a road trip out here?
No, God, no. I'm not a fan.
What are you, some kind of maniac?
What am I, you?
What are you, crazy?
Well, we have about a half hour left in this madcap wander through all the conversations. Oh, wait, one more thing. This is an update from last week. I just wanted to give a correction. Sometimes we do corrections. No, we never do corrections, but this will be one. In college, I played the Archangel Michael, not the Archangel Gabriel, as we discussed on last week's episode. However, I do still feel an affinity for the idea of connecting to Gabriel, and I'm going to continue to pursue that. I started reading a little about him, and I love it. He is literally the embodiment of communication.
Gemini.
That's just him. He's everything they say. It's like babies who are having speech delay. People pray to Gabriel. Anything that has to do with words, language, communication, it's all Gabriel.
And you're a triple Gemini, and Gemini's all about communication.
Yeah.
Charm, communication, words, socializing.
Professionally, I'm all about communication in every aspect of my life.
Totes.
Both as an actor, as a coach, as a facilitator. Everything I do is about fucking communication.
Totes.
Here on the podcast, it's about fucking fuck you, fucking communication.
Totes. So much totes.
So.
That's cool. Rock on.
I'm going to keep following up on that. I still haven't actually listened to the whole episode. Sorry, you guys. I was there when it happened, but I haven't listened to the whole thing. But I will.
I did invite, by the way, Claudia back on, and she's going to join us. We just haven't, and I'm going to read her records this time.
Oh, that's nice.
We just haven't found a time that works. Have we, Nigel? No, we haven't.
Oh, the other pups.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Rami here. So when I was in Italy, there were a few times where Italians would bring up American politics with me, ask me questions. And, it's always so interesting to travel abroad and be like, oh, shit, they are totally getting different news than we are getting, right? Like, our country is so insular. It's so big and so insular. And the news we get is the news we get. It's our own sort of propaganda, or you might think propaganda is too strong a word, or maybe you don't. But it's what it is. It's different than other people's news. So I'm not saying anything great about anybody else's news necessarily either. So anyway. A couple Italians were like, Joe Biden is the worst president ever. Why does he want war so much? And I was like, what? And they view Joe Biden as a warmonger, which is funny because that's not how I view Joe Biden. I don't view Joe Biden as a warmonger, but because the part of American politics that's important to them is, how they are affected. And how they are affected is there is a war happening in Europe right now. There is a war happening. Now, my cousin Chantal, who I was staying with, is not a fan of Ukraine. Because they're not cute anymore. They're not the underdog anymore. They have been so well funded and weaponized that they are like a legit force. They just sent in a drone after Putin. Got pretty close. So they're not the cute underdog. Like they are now, whatever was happening before, you forget that real quick, and now it's just two European powers at war, and America is funding them and giving them weapons. So America is part of the war, but it's not on our soil, essentially, and the Europeans are like, why do Americans want war so much? Americans don't understand because war is far away to you. For us, it's right here. It's close. We don't want war. Italians want peace. I'm like, okay, maybe. I can't speak. I don't know if Italian's actually on peace, but I hear what you're saying. And wow, heard. And then my cousin Chantal, like I said, not a fan of Ukraine. And her main reason, I mean, she's got multiple reasons, but it's really about how much we've supported them when Haiti is struggling so much. So I'm Haitian and my cousin is Haitian, and Haiti and many other countries that are not white are struggling and desperately in need of support and not getting the support they need. And Ukraine is getting so much support. So a lot of her reasons for not really being a fan of Ukraine, it's not about Ukraine at all. It's about us. It's about who we choose to give money to. Ooh, Rami's rules.
Okay, I am processing a ton of stuff for you about whatever this tired detox thing is. So let's go into your records.
Okay. I guess that's today.
Lucky bastard.
Like, I am so lucky. Are you kidding me, Katie? I get all kinds of work.
Maybe we can also go into the records of the listeners. Oh my God. All right, I'm going to drop into both. I'm going to do you and everybody who is listening in the future, which for you is now, listener.
Brain melt.
All right. Okay, let's take a couple deep breaths into the low belly. Just letting the belly get loose and chubby, sticking it out. Relaxing the belly muscles. Dropping the shoulders a little bit. Softening our attachment to the thoughts in the mind. Feeling our feet flat on the ground. Seeing a little spinning foot chakra start to spin open at the bottom center of each foot. Feeling into the bottom of each toe. Balls of the feet, heels of the feet. Seeing a little spinning vortex open at the bottom center of each foot that gets wider and wider. And as they widen, like tornadoes of light expanding, more and more open, we see 500 tree roots of light anchor down and into the earth through the open window of each foot. 1,000 roots in total, 500 through the open window of each of our feet. Oh my God. We'll see everything from the feet up, becoming a big tree of conscious awareness, the trunk of which grows wide and deep and tall. So wide and so deep, we can't even see its edges anymore. So tall, we can't see the top of it. Hundreds of thousands of branches, millions of leaves, bushy tree of conscious receptivity. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. Holy Spirit of divine light, protect me, please, from all forms of self-centeredness and direct my attention to the work at hand. Help me to know Cassidy Jamal Brown and everyone who's listening to the podcast currently in the light of the Akashic Records. Help me to see Cassidy Jamal Brown and everyone who's listening to the podcast currently through the eyes of the Lords of the Records. And enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of Cassidy Jamal Brown and everyone who listens to the podcast presently have for them all. And as we deepen into the Akashic Records of Cassidy Jamal Brown and everyone who listens to this podcast, calling up into conscious awareness, everything causing the detox symptoms he's experiencing, whatever they may be. We ask that they be met with divine light, conscious awareness. We like him to have an easier time physically, not doing so much yawning. We'd like to relieve him of his allergy symptoms, even if they're not allergies. Maybe is it a cold? Has it been allergies? Yeah. Has it been allergies to man-made things? No. Pollens? Yes. Some of the, okay. Okay. I think you're having, oh my God. Reactions to, allergic responses to certain pollens, some of which are new to your body because of the ways that the global warming is affecting the blowing of wind. Like you're getting tree, grass, root, flower pollens from the northwest and the south in ways that that people in your area haven't been typically getting. And some of this has to do with like tides and how they're shifting, and some of it has to do with fires. Some of this is like ash reactivity, and we're talking about micro, organisms. Ash, pollens, wood, like trees that are burning the micro bits of the bark. So there's a number of things in the air in your area that haven't always been in the air in your area. Whew. All right, can we process something for him, clear something for him that would facilitate him not having this? No. Is there anything he could do? Yes.
Is there anything I could take or any?
Yeah, let me see.
Supplements or anything?
Supplements, yes. Acupuncture, herbs, no. Oils, no. Homeopathic, no. Supplements, yes. Let's see.
I have a question. That you might not be able to dispatch about someone else. Denise also, whose name you actually know, has been having massive every morning, just nonstop. Is it similar? Is it related? Is it the same new bullshit that I'm dealing with?
No.
She's got her own thing.
I think it hurt. Huh. Yeah, that's a whole, we have to come back to that. That's a whole topic. That's a good question. Okay, so let me stay on the supplements. I'm also just like super aware of now everything for the podcast listeners. So I may have overshot here. Give me a second.
That's right, because we did me and everybody.
Yeah. Let me do this. Let's keep running a couple clearings and then we'll come back to that question. So we're calling up now into conscious awareness, everything for Cassidy and all the listeners of this podcast. Creating, I'd say, like the heaviest energies they're each experiencing right now, the hardest stuff they're going through. Listeners, if you could breathe into in your body where you feel stressed, tight, tense, tired, repressed, oppressed, angry, fearful, rageful, blaming of others of something, attacky, any of that. Let's just sink into that right now. I'm going to process some of that for you. All right, that's a lot less distracting. So that was kind of like the most obvious chunks of it. There's some deep heart work that the majority of us listening today could use, like kind of like deep trauma work, like places in your heart where just the real vulnerable stuff. This is for the listeners from childhood where we all tend to blow over as if it's not that big a deal because you survived it, right? Like stuff like, mom was judgy or dad didn't pay attention or they said that thing to me that made me feel bad. But in the time, there wasn't any room or space to feel sad about it. So it all just didn't get processed. So those parts of self that really just need to be heard from childhood, like the group collective could use some parts work and some grieving from the heart. So if you're listening now and you're someone who has a practice that allows you to drop into your heart and do some parts work, that would be wise. One of these days we should do a whole parts work session on the podcast. And we'll actively teach people. We'll do a whole session and we'll do a whole session and that'll be a nice teaching on that. All right. And so now we're coming back to Cassidy's. So what can Cassidy take to diminish these symptoms? Okay. You know how you can take, what's that called? Something charcoal?
Activated charcoal.
Activated charcoal. They'd like you to take some of that. And this is the second time this has come up recently. Chloroform
or chlorophyll?
Fill. The stuff that makes plants green.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could use some of that. Minerals. No. Magnesium. No. What is that? Dandelion tea. At night, dandelion tea. In the morning, decaffeinated green tea. Or anytime you want decaffeinated green tea. You know how I don't know what this is, but there's a word, the word pearl comes up in some green teas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means, but that would be the kind of green tea that would be good.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. That's all.
Cool. I wrote it all down while you were talking, so I've got it.
Okay, great.
Any of that apply to other people?
Yeah, I was just asking that and I'm getting a no as I asked it. Yeah, that was a nice little clearing for the group. A few of you, yes, I'm doing marketing on you now, but also a few of you could really use a session or two. Like if you feel really heavy in your heart listening to this, or like a bunch of anxiety or tightness came up in your chest, fucking let's do this. Book a session or two. KatieRubin.com. I really want to ask about my thing. I'm going to ask about my thing. So I'm going to open my records too.
I want to hear about your thing.
They're already open. Consciousness. Okay. Let me just tap into the records of consciousness here. All right, so I need to close the records of everyone on the podcast and Cassidy. So I want to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their love and compassion, the lords of the records for their point of view, and the Holy Spirit of light for all knowledge and healing. I ask that you return all of Cassidy and everybody who listens to the podcast's energy to themselves now, please. I ask that you return Cassidy and everybody who listens to the podcast to their complete human wholeness now. The divine portal and the Akashic records of Cassidy Jamal Brown and everyone who listens to our podcast are now closed. Amen. Amen, amen, amen. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammad abduhu wa rasulullah. Amen. All right. And so as we drop into the Akashic records of consciousness, that feels a lot lighter. That's good. We deepen me into the records of consciousness. Am I there? Okay. So, okay, wait a minute. All right. So, I could use a little help, even understanding what question to ask in terms of where I'm best suited to be. So I'm going to ask a few questions here and see what I get. First of all, is it like whichever of these three locations I choose, there's There's a win, big wins in each one. Yes. Is there one location I could choose that brings the most wins on the most levels of life? No. Okay. Does that mean, yeah. Okay, so the first thing I'm getting is wherever I stay for now, I'm probably going to wind up in California in the end anyway. So it's okay because Atlanta will be a thing you do for a while, temporary, and then you go to California, or you'll just go to California, or you'll stay here temporarily and then go to California. Okay, then follow-up questions are, if I'm here, aren't I like building a bunch of shit that then would no. Okay. Well, why not? I mean, and that's what the fucking cards show. The cards show wishes fulfilled, and then the outcome is the master artisan. That I'm like, wishes fulfilled and I'm building stuff. So why is that a no?
Maybe what you're building either doesn't need to keep you, or or it's more figurative and portable in the sense that you're building you.
That reads. That's what reads. Okay. All right. This is what I've gotten before. That reads. Okay. So thank you for that, Cass. So then my follow-up question to that is, what about this whole, like I don't exactly feel good going back to the Bay Area, which is struggling right now. It's not a great spot at the moment. How do I work with that or understand that or get over that? No. Why would I do that? So this is like, so that part of the country has a vibrational frequency for you that opens your heart more, causes you to be, it's a more collectivist, communal, friends, community, love, beauty kind of place. And that's what your second half of life is about, is those energies. And so you know better than anyone, or as well as anyone, that when you are in your alignment, which is a lot easier for you to be in out there. Yes. It's a lot harder for you in Florida, is it not? Yes. Like a lot harder. And I have questions about that too, but anyway, like, why is that? I don't get that, but anyway, we'll come back to that. So it's easier for you to be in a heart-centered, more spiritually aligned place with the energetics out there. Also, because that's the case, you know how it is to live in your own reality. You've always done that. So the people you surround yourself with are more of you'll be in your bubble of spiritual alignment and your people. So you won't be living just like constantly confronted by the horrors of it all. And of course, you being there is a contribution to the area. And it's not forever. It's not forever. Okay, well then I want to ask this. Like, if I do Atlanta for 6 months and they go no, immediate no. Okay, well, what the fuck? The cards don't say immediate no. They're like, the cards are reflecting where you're at. We're telling you from our perspective. Okay. All right, well, I have more processing to do around that for sure, because I'm not on board yet.
Maybe you're moving back to Sacramento, or...
I've thought about that. So what?
It's so hot there.
It is very hot there. I have a friend who has like 3 houses for rent, though. They're all like $1,400 with yards.
You can still buy a house in Sacramento.
And rent one for not a lot of money. All right.
Wow.
I'm gonna keep the records of consciousness open. Yeah, I'm like not on board at all yet. But we'll get there.
I just want to share that what we were witnessing was just a conversation, full on, just straight up. And for the listener, I'm watching Katie on the Zoom, and And her head's going to the right. Well, what about this? And then to the left. Well, that's because of this. Well, but I thought, well, you're being foolish because you're not listening. Well, but, and the head just going back and forth like I'm watching a really good one person show.
That's funny. That is funny and wacky and sounds right.
And also, I got an idea for an improv show that I want to talk about with you offline. Let's talk about that one offline. I'm going to send it to you.
Okay. You're going to tease the people, huh?
Yeah. I want to run it past you before I just throw it out into the universe.
I love it. Okay.
Wow.
Good times.
Short and sweet, but we got good shit out of it, and I hope people got a little healing.
Me too. We love you guys. Please write us. Send us questions. What do you want to know?
We want to hear from you. We love you.
What do you need?
We love you out there.
I haven't asked Desmond in a long time what our numbers are like. Like, are people still listening to this?
No idea.
Is this a thing?
Is anyone out there?
Hello? Hello?
Just Margaret. It's just Margaret in Australia.
Margaret and Denise. And Rami.
And Rami. That's it. We got it. That's our listenership. But we're doing it for them.
Yeah, why not?
Those are 4 of our absolute favorite people in the world. So
okay. I love you. I gotta go
love
do a
you
thing.
too. Talk to you
do
soon.
Your work.
Have
Everybody
a good
do your work.
client time.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
What you asking for? All of the answers? Say what? All of the answers? Yeah, all the answers.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. We'd love to hear from you. Please email us with your questions so that we have questions to answer in the Akashic Records. Our email address is allanswerspod@gmail.com. That's allanswerspod@gmail.com. And if you'd like to find us on Facebook or Twitter, it's @allanswerspod, @allanswerspod. Thank you. Please bleep that.
Mixed and edited by Desmond McNeese for We Mixed It, LLC. Go to whatsoundsawesome.com.